Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rail Plus Japan webinar. I am Nikki, the Victors SA BDM. I also have Blaze with me answering any questions. So if you do have any questions at any time, please send them through to Blaze. We also actually have one of the guys in the office who is from Japan helping us on anything that's a little bit more niche. So if you've got any questions, please send them through. As always, we will be recording and saving this webinar and sending it to you afterwards. But at any time, if you do want to access all of the webinars, you can either go onto YouTube and just look up the Rail Plus YouTube channel, or we do now have in the My Rail Plus Tools and Agent Resources tab, which will give you access to a Google shared folder, which will supply you with any flyers, Facebook tiles, but as well you can access the webinar videos there at any time, either this one or ones we have done in the past. So let's get started. So Japan rail passes. Now is our optimum selling time for Japan because we can do the passes roughly 3 months in advance. So coming into the Northern Hemisphere summer, it is ideal now for the passes. So Japan, just a bit of geography, is made up of 4 main islands. One thing I will also mention is my pronunciation of Japanese places is not great, so I will give it a try, but forgive me if I make a big mistake on any of them. So the popular rail destinations we sell include Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Kobe, and Hiroshima. 5 main things to know is that Japan are the leaders of high-speed rail. The maximum operating speed is up to 320 k's an hour. We will have eventually one day, if Japan has its way, trains that will travel up to probably the speed of sound, but right now that is how fast they are. The delays are also super rare. An average delay of a Shinkansen is less than 1 minute. People may remember a couple of months ago there was a national apology for a train departing 20 seconds early. So that is the type of efficiency that we have over there. There are 2 different classes, and they are green and ordinary, and passes are cheaper than tickets. So different rail passes are available for all passengers. And again, just the efficiency, it by far is the easiest way to travel from city to city. Just like European airports, the Japanese airports can be a fair distance out of the city. Obviously, traffic is horrible. The process of getting out to that airport is not great. So the Japan Rail Network works amazing for locals and travellers alike. There are 2 classes of travel available on Japanese trains, green, which is the first class, and then ordinary, which is second. So the green class seats are larger. They're just a little bit more comfortable. There's more leg room, there's more luggage space. So as you would expect, just less seats per carriage, more space in general. They also have power points for laptops and phone chargers, and there is complimentary refreshments on Kyushu lines. The seat reservations are compulsory, but they are complimentary. In the ordinary class, again, comfortable seating. The trains obviously still travelling just as fast, just more seats, slightly smaller. Seat reservations are not required. They are optional and they can be booked at the railway station. So with Japan, they will have non-reserved and reserved carriages in ordinary class. If you have a reserved seat, then you would be in the reserved carriage. If you don't, then you can sit in the non-reserved, but obviously if that train is busier, then that's where the people will be. So a guide to the different Japan passes. So the Japan Railway Pass, or the JR Pass, covers all of the country. So we then have the different region passes. Rail Plus in our brochure this year also included a really good map which easily colour codes each of the areas and shows you which pass fits in that area. The Japan East Pass covers the Nagano and Niigata areas, and then you've also got the Japan East Pass and the Tohoku, I told you my pronunciation was horrible, but you can see that along there, the first 2 Japan East options. We then have the Hokkaido, the Kyushu, the Northern Kyushu, the Kansai Wide, and the Shikoku Rail Pass as well. Basically, if they're going to Tokyo, they're also going to either Kyoto or Osaka. That will cover the 2 separate areas, and therefore they need a Japan pass. I find most people that are going to those areas will cover both, but if they are going to Tokyo and staying around that area, then there probably will be a Japan East pass that fits their needs. Again, the map in the brochure is really handy. And then we also, of course, have the maps on the website as well. So who can use the Japan Pass? So the Japan Passes are for foreign tourists visiting Japan sightseeing on a temporary visitor entry. The Japan nationalists are not eligible. And then if they were traveling on a business visa or something along those lines, they also cannot use the Japan Rail Pass. Dual citizens, you have 2 passports, you must enter Japan under the entry status of temporary visitor. So it's just pretty much important how they're entering Japan. If that's a temporary visitor, they can get a Japan pass. If it's not, then they're not eligible for a JR pass. The inclusions on the JR pass, so it covers all JR group railways, except for 2, which we'll look at in a second. It covers selected buses, the ferries in those 2 places, the Narita Express, the Tokyo Monorail, the Kansai Airport Rapid Service, and the Yamanote Line in Tokyo Subway. So on the website, we do have another picture of that green line, which shows you the different stops that are included on the Yamanote Line. There are 2 trains which are not valid on the Japan Pass, and these are the Nozomi and the Mizuho. So they are the fastest of the Shinkansens. They can definitely still use other Shinkansen products. They just cannot use the pass on these 2 products. So exchanging the voucher, what Rail Plus will issue is 2 vouchers. We have basically, when we print them, we have 4 separate coupons. We keep 2 of those coupons in our office and the other 2 go to you to give to your client. They need to present that at a JR Pass exchange office within 3 months of the date we issue it from our office. The Japan East Pass does not have the 2 vouchers. That is issued a little bit differently. So basically they'll take their Japan Rail Pass. What I always recommend, if people are flying into Tokyo and they're coming out of Narita into Tokyo, they can exchange their pass at the exchange office there. So if they were getting on the Narita Express, then they can do it there. Obviously, if they're planning to use their pass straight away, that's great, but they can exchange it there and then have their pass start a week later, 3 days later, whatever they need. But at least that's the way it's done. And they don't have to worry about going to the station to do it on the day prior that they plan to move. Booking seat reservations. So these can only be done locally. Another tip I say, if people are exchanging their pass at Narita or wherever they're exchanging it, if they do have a list of the services that they do want to book their seat res for, they can give this to the exchange office and they will be able to issue their seat reservations at the same time they exchange their pass. We can, of course, assist with timetables. We do have a link on our website for Hyperdia, not sure which one it is, but we do have a link which they can look up timetables, and it also will tell them what the service is. So there is an option within Hyperdia to unselect both the Nozomi and the Mizuho services. So you are just getting timetables for the products which are valid on their pass. Seat reservations are free of charge. The other products Rail Plus does sell, so we have a couple of add-ons. We do Japan Airport coach transfers, so that's an option for you to upsell to your clients. And we also sell Suica cards. Suica cards are very similar to an Oyster card or any other type of Metro card. Basically, we have them preloaded with 1,500 yen in our office that we will send out to you. Of course, both our sightseeing products are commissionable. The other great thing with Suica cards is that they can be used on some vending machines in metros. So I always like to grab a bottle of water when I arrive into a destination. And basically that just means that if I have the Suica card, I don't have to fiddle around for small notes or coins or stuff to use the vending machine. So you can use your Suica card as a cash card as well as obviously a Metro card. They can top it up locally, they can add credit to it, and then at the end they can always exchange it and get their card fee back. It's not just for Tokyo, it is very useful across all of Japan. For all of the inclusions, we have it on the sightseeing tab, so there's a full list there that we can include it. So Blaise has just sent through a question. The 2 services that can't be booked on the Rail Pass, are they booked as point-to-point tickets? They are. The same routes are covered by different services. So you'll see when you do a search on the timetables, if you were to select the Nozomi or the Mizuho, that service may be 400 minutes long from Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka. If you make sure that you're not including those in the search, then the service may be 430 minutes long. So it's not a huge difference. The Nozomi and the Mizuhos, they are a little bit faster, but there are plenty of options on the same routes that the clients can use their Japan passes on. The basic thing with Japan is that tickets can only be purchased locally. So if you are selling something from Australia, then it would be the Japan pass, and there are other options that are on that same route for different trains they can take. So is it worth it? So the Japan passes are definitely worth it. They are 100% cheaper than point-to-point tickets. If on the Hyperdia app, it'll also give you an indication of yen pricing. And normally if they're doing a Tokyo to Kyoto return, then it's cheaper with a pass. But of course the passes are the Japan rail passes, and most of the passes, they are continuous. So they're not like a Eurail pass where you have 5 days over 1 month to use that pass. It would be 7 days continuous, 14 days continuous, 21 days continuous. So often if they are doing 7 days of travel once they leave Tokyo, then that's why people would delay the start of their pass, because otherwise they're not getting the value of it around Tokyo. But if they've only got 5 days, then obviously they can use 2 days to take advantage of the bonuses that are offered in Tokyo on the Japan pass. So a promo that we do have at the moment as well is that we have increased the Japan Rail Pass commission until 6%, up to 6% until the 29th of March. So Japan commission was cut earlier on this year as a global decision from Japan. So the regular commission on this product is around 1.5%. So we do have that up to 6% until the end of the month. Just a reminder, of course, you can purchase passes 3 months in advance. So if you have any clients traveling April, May, June, then they will be able to get the pass now and you can take advantage of the increased commission. And that is the last slide. We, of course, will always just wait a couple of minutes for any questions. I just wanted to retouch on the fact that tickets can only be purchased locally. Passes can only be purchased outside of Japan. So the rail passes is the only option we have. It obviously being a continuous product gives them the full flexibility to do small day trips out of town or use their pass wherever they can on any JR product, so JR buses, JR trains. So it is a full comprehensive product that they will have that all included. But you need to look at how many days they're using their travel within, because obviously being a continuous pass and not a flexi, there is a bit of a price jump between a 7 and a 14 and a 21 day continuous pass. So just make sure they obviously will have what they need covered. We don't have any questions just yet, which is hopefully a good sign that everything was covered. But we will just wait a little bit to see if there are any questions coming through. And Blaise just wanted me to quickly mention, just to remind everyone, that most signs are in English. So it is a really, really easy way to travel. And basically they can very easily get around from A to B. So we've just had a question about policy on price matching, price beating. This is something that always comes up with Japan because there are so many online sites which may offer a product with no service at all. So you may have clients who are looking online for the Japan pricing. We have priced it as low as possible. So, at the moment it is sitting as cheapest as we can offer it. If you do have questions on price matching, please send them through to me or to your rep and we can always have a look at it. We basically will look at the exchange rates every second day and fluctuate on that. But I mean, if there has been like a price exchange rate change and we can maybe bring the price down a little bit, we'll give it a shot. But generally right now it is sort of as cheap as we can make it. So question, client need Osaka and Tokyo only. Is it still better to buy the rail pass? They can, of course, get a 7-day pass. The individual ticket locally, looking at what Hyperdia has on it may actually be cheaper than a 7-day pass. But I mean, I guess it depends if they're going to be in Tokyo and they're going to be using the bonuses that it has, the Yamanote line, the buses, the ferries, then they may get the value out of the pass having those 7 days and then just the 3 days in Tokyo or whatever, and then the one trip over to Osaka. It just means that obviously that's all covered, whereas buying the ticket locally, they would have to do it over there. So a copy of the presentation will be emailed out to you, and then any Q&As that Blaze has, he will answer those and send them through. And the presentation, of course, will be available on both our YouTube channel as well as the agent resources area. So that can be found under My Rail Plus Tools, agent resources. We have there all the flyers, the promos, the promo flyers that you guys can add your details to. We have Facebook tiles, and then of course we do have the webinars as well. Question, other than the vending machine Suica card, what can you use the card for if the pass includes buses? So the Suica card is basically a Metro card. So the JR pass will only cover JR buses. It won't cover the Metro, not all buses. You can also use the Suica card to travel on your underground services. So the JR pass only covers in Tokyo the Yamanote line, but they can use the Suica card for the different underground services. So I'm just looking on the website quickly just to read from that. So the Suica card can be used to pay for things with e-money. It's a Japanese smart card transportation system. So it's essentially a Maiki or a Oyster or anything like that. So you've got the Tokyo metropolitan areas, the Sendai area and the Nagata area that they can use the Suica. And then of course your JR pass will cover your city-to-city transports. So they can top it up locally. So on the website, if you go into sightseeing and then go into Japan, we do have the details area. It'll include how to use, topping up, the different fares, the price, and then also the valid areas on transportation system. It's an in-between product. So Suica covers your underground, your Japan pass is going to cover your city-to-city centre. I hope that answers it. If not, just send another question through. Another question, do the bullet trains always leave from the same platform in Tokyo and Kyoto? I am going to have to get Blaze to help me on that. Blaze or Matsushi, maybe do the bullet trains always leave from the same platform in Tokyo and Kyoto? So next question, can clients take their luggage on trains and buses? Of course, yes. They just carry it on the train themselves and store it in the luggage racks. Question, is it easy for passengers to know which trains to use? As you mentioned, they are valid on the JR rail system. So it's basically JR branding. So if you're seeing that JR branding, then it will include it, other than the Nozomi and the Mizuho services. So Hyperdia, you can find the timetable link up the top of the Rail Plus website. We have a timetables area, and then it's the one that you can use with Japan. So it's really easy to follow. Once you're looking at it, you will be able to see where you can see JR services. You can unselect any private lines from that. So that'll also give your clients the information about whether or not their route will be covered on the JR pass. So if you unselect private lines and you unselect the Nozomi and the Mizuho, then pretty much everything that's going to be displaying will be products that are valid on the pass. So very top of the Rail Plus website, timetables through to Japan timetables. Question, if there's a school group heading to Tokyo, Hiroshima, Yokohama, and then back to Tokyo for 13 days, would it be better to have a rail pass for 14 days or a 7-day pass and then an individual ticket on the return? I thought it was any 4 days instead. So yeah, I mean, if they are doing the individual ticket on the return, then they would obviously have to purchase that ticket over there. In terms of like quoting the prices, we can get a rough indication from Hyperdia of what it will be, what the cost would be locally in yen, but obviously they would be sort of risking purchasing that ticket locally on availability and stuff. So If they do, obviously, if you want to sell it from here and they just want to have everything covered, you can do the 14-day pass and they can book their seat res as soon as they arrive. If they're doing the 7-day pass, then they would have to organise the ticket over there. As for the breakdown of each of those individual journeys on pricing, I'm not too sure, but it's definitely something that we could look into if you wanted to email that through to the guys in the office, just info@Rail Plus, and they can always give you a bit more of a pricing indication. The flexi, so the 4 days and 7-day passes. So when it comes to Japan and the Japan Rail Pass, that is a 7, 14 and 21 day continuous pass. The Japan East Pass does have, so the Nagano area is 5 days within 14 days, and the Tohoku is 5 days within 14 days. So there are some of the smaller region passes that do have that sort of flexi, 3 days and 7 days type duration, but the Japan Rail Pass is continuous days. So they're a little bit different. So under Rail Passes, you'll see Japan as a destination. Just click on that and then you'll have the different areas. If PAC's already overseas, is it possible to purchase a rail pass? They are paper. So what we send from here, obviously they would need to have it here. If they're buying it over there, they're only at limited stations and they are more expensive. It's something they were trialing at the start of the year to offer Japan passes locally. Obviously that trial may end. They may show up at a service and all of a sudden that product is not available. So to give you a 100% answer on whether they can purchase the pass over there right now, we can't, because I can say yes right now at these 5 stations, but in a month that might not be the case. So right now they are trialing it to see if they will offer it locally. If you did need that information, let us know, but obviously it's not guaranteed. So right now it is a little bit in between as to whether or not they will have it as a permanent feature or whether they will not, and it is also at very limited stations. Question, is the Suica card or the coach the best option to get from airport to the city? So the Narita Express, obviously that is going to be faster, but it's going to take them to the station that the Narita Express goes to. The transfer will take them straight to their hotel. Just to give you a cost, so Japan airport coach transfers between Narita and Central Tokyo hotels, it's $49 per person. So it is a door-to-door transfer, versus the Narita Express will take them to the metro, which the Narita Express goes to. So I guess that's the thing, is where is their hotel, how far it is from the metro, do they want to take their bags between metro and hotel or not. Can JR Pass be extended in Japan if purchased 2 weeks, but they want to extend to 3 weeks when they reach Japan? We might have to check on that. From what I sort of know about it, I'm going to say no. Don't think so, but it's definitely something we can look into. So for that question, I'll get Blaze to research that and then add that into the follow-up email as to whether or not that can be included. But I think if they purchased a 2-week pass from Australia and then they wanted to extend it to a 3-week pass locally, they would have to purchase the 3-week pass when they were over there and then apply for a refund on the 2-week pass once they came back to Australia. And just to give you a quick idea, so Japan Rail Passes, the cancellation conditions, so we need them returned within 12 months of the issuance date, and there is a $30 fee, and I think it's a 10% cancellation fee. So they obviously would not get all of their money back, but if they were purchasing a 2 and then upgrading to a 3 locally, it may be possible for them to get some of the money back. Hyperdia is the Timetable site. So someone's just asked, what is that? So we will also send a link in the email, but basically if you're looking at the Rail Plus website, at the very top of the page, it is white. Within that white sort of area, we have at the very top, sort of to the central and right-hand side, about, contact, maps, and then there is one there called Timetables. So the timetables will then take you through to a link which will give you your European timetables and your Amtrak timetables, and the Japan one will take you through to Hyperdia, which will give you the Japan timetable information. So is there an Osaka Airport to City coach? No, we only have Tokyo at the moment. Unfortunately, that's the only one we do have access to. But we are constantly expanding our sightseeing products based on, supply and demand. So maybe something we add in the future, but for right now, it's just the Suica card and the Tokyo Airport transfer that we have as sightseeing products. Does the bus transfer have only certain times it travels? Which was the next question. I'm just having a really quick look on the website under the Japan coach information. If it's not there, then it's probably something we might want to add. So the ticket, so all passengers travelling from Narita Airport to Central Tokyo Hotel, there are no reservations. Upon arrival to Narita Airport, simply go to the limousine bus ticket counter inside the terminal, and staff will advise which bus stop to proceed to. The ticket counters are open from 6:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily, and the departures run approximately between 8 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Then we also just have a link to a map which shows them where to board the buses, and they're located outside the terminal buildings. For passengers travelling to Narita Airport from the Central Tokyo Hotel, please ask your hotel reception to call Airport Limousine Bus and request a pickup time. So yeah, so the ticket counters open from 6:30 a.m. and the departures run from approximately 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So hopefully that works with most flight times. And then, of course, if it's outside of that, they may need to organise an alternate transport. How soon can seats be booked? Does this need to be done locally only? How much does seat cost if holding a JR pass? So seat reservations are free. They can only be done locally, and it can be done at the exchange office. So if they know in advance which ones they want to book when they're actually exchanging their pass, then they can book all their seat reservations in at that time. They can, of course, in ordinary class be flexible and, jump on trains without seat reservations, obviously risking that there will be a seat available, but it is free of charge. Okay, so there's no more questions. So just to not keep it too long and make sure our video is not going to be 45 minutes long, we will wrap up there. So hopefully everyone has enjoyed this webinar. It's been great, of course, to always deliver information, and we have roughly sort of put in a bit of a schedule for our webinars for the next 6 months, just to look at the products that are being released at that time. But of course, if you do have any recommendations of things that you would like to know more about, please let us know. We have also added in the webinar video area on the Google Drive of the agent resources a quick video with no sound on how to use the new multi-city search that we have on the website. So this is going to be for Europe, UK and US, not so much Japan. But if you do have anyone in the office that wants a bit of a quick run through of that, that video is there. It's very easy to follow along. You can see where Blaze is clicking when he's making the video, so it shows you how to use that function. And that, of course, is an amazing thing for us and for rail in general, because it will mean you can look your rail itinerary up for Europe in one go, rather than having to search each fare or each service individually. But for now, that is everything. So again, my name is Nikki. If you do have any questions, please let us know. Otherwise, you will receive an email with the video and also questions that we did get, and the one we do need to follow up, that will be on there as well. But as always, thank you very much, and we will see you down the track.